Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. Aerosmith has announced its retirement. We're going to be going over the band's last statement to the public, and we're also going to be discussing whether this really means an end to any farewell tour with the name Aerosmith connected to it. And then we're going to be talking about a man who's up there in age as well. He's experienced some medical conditions that have even prevented him from touring in the past, but these days is showing absolutely no signs whatsoever of slowing down. And of course, I'm talking about the former lead singer for the prog rock band, yes, Jon Anderson. All right, so first of all, I've got to admit the fact that I am a bit of a Aerosmith fan. From the very first time I read about them in Circus magazine, and I bought Toys in the Attic, I got all of their albums as they came out and thoroughly enjoyed them. And that even includes Just Push Play and Honkin' with Bobo. I never got to see them tour, and so this upcoming tour was of interest to me. I hadn't made up my mind whether I'd shell out the money for the opportunity to see them. The tour was supposed to start last year, but Steven fractured his larynx, and it's been since then that the band has been on pause, allowing Steven time to repair the damage done to his vocal cords. But evidently, even with patience and a lot of hard work on Steven's part, they have come to the conclusion that it's just not going to work out. And we're going to be talking about that tonight. We're going to look at an article that covers the band's very last statement to us all. And it's a bit sad, I'll guarantee you that, but I'll tell you, it's also kind of refreshing to see a band to seemingly know when to throw the towel in. In a statement to us all, the band said it was 1970 when a spark of inspiration became Aerosmith. Thanks to you, our Blue Army, that spark caught flame and has been burning for over 5 decades. Some of you have been with us since the beginning, and all of you are the reason we made rock and roll history. It has been the honor of our lives to have our music become part of yours. In every club, on every massive tour, and at moments grand and private, you have given us a place in the soundtrack of your lives. We always wanted to blow your minds while performing. As you know, Steven's voice is an instrument like no other. He has spent months tirelessly working on getting his voice to where it was before his injury. We've seen him struggling despite having the best medical team by his side. Sadly, it is clear that a full recovery from his vocal injury is not possible. We have made a heartbreaking and difficult but necessary decision as a band of brothers to retire from touring. We are grateful beyond words for everyone who was pumped to get on the road with us one last time. We're grateful to our expert crew, our incredible team, and thousands of talented people who've made our historic runs possible. A final thank you to you, the best fans on planet Earth. Play our music loud and always. Dream on. You've made our dreams come true. Wow. That's a pretty powerful statement. And you know what? If Aerosmith remains true to this final goodbye, I have nothing but the highest respect for this band. This is the way to go out when it's your time, folks. But what I worry about is the fact that there was tons of money lying on the table, and that's always there. And you can't tell me that there isn't a ton of powerful people trying to figure out how they can pick that money up with one final tour. How would they even begin to contemplate that? Well, for one thing, they could take their hint from Queen. Queen has done that in the past, having guest vocals. They could set up a Steven Tyler tribute tour. Can you imagine that? The TTT tour, the Tyler tribute tour of rock and roll. And the way things are going these days, you really can't blame me for being a bit of a skeptic when a band says goodbye. We've seen so many farewells by bands and artists that had no intention of ever saying goodbye. They were too busy picking our pockets. But for the moment, I will say this. If the band remains true to this goodbye, this is indeed a noble statement by them. And guess what? The albums are still there. The music is still there. And we have until we wish to forget about them to enjoy them. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that we are in the very last days of classic rock, or at least the last days of classic rock being presented to us live by the classic rock artists that created the old classic rock hits that are out touring these days. But the music is so damned popular, we're willing to go see Avatar shows of Kiss and ABBA. We're willing to watch Don Henley lip sync before our very ears. And we don't seem to give a damn that the band touring as Foreigner ain't Foreigner. Many of our past rock legends have already passed on, and those that are still out touring are aging out rapidly. Aerosmith is just the latest casualty. But what about another artist who's getting up there in age, who has had medical issues that have prevented him from touring, medical issues that got in the way, and it eventually was the source of getting him kind of removed from the band we all identify him from. And of course, I'm talking about the classic rock, prog rock band, yes, and I'm talking about Jon Anderson. He's had major asthma issues, and yet somehow he has worked his way through it. Of course, his old band released Mirror to the Sky last year, and I've made it perfectly clear that I think out of all the classic rock albums released by classic rock artists last year, and there were a ton of them, and a lot of them very, very good, Mirror to the Sky, in my opinion, was the album of the year. But starting late in 2023, Jon Anderson returned to the studio with his band, the Band Geeks, and started recording a brand new album. Now, Jon says this brand new album will contain longer material. So that's good news for Yes fans if he can pull it off. And in that same interview, Jon Anderson seemed to have a need to make the statement that when it came to Yes, he was the so-called mystic, as it were, for the band. All of the mystical elements that have come to identify Yes were pretty much from him. Evidently, even Roger Dean's artwork was based on a lot of what Jon Anderson envisioned for the song and the song's lyrics. Since making those statements, he has released 2 songs, Shine On and True Messenger. And all I can say is, holy shades of topographic oceans, because I absolutely love both of these cuts. Evidently, he does a lot of his writing and setup of this whole band of his with his bass player, who sounds mysteriously a whole lot like Chris Squire. So I'm satisfied with the bass elements on these songs. I do notice that he plays with a little more bass response than the more trebly attack of Chris Squire, but that's okay. This is a different project, but if you're a Chris Squire fan, you're not going to be disappointed in these bass lines. Now, I don't know if these are just edited down versions of the 15-minute and 12-minute track, or if these will be included with those longer tracks, but I gotta tell you, I love both of these tracks. Both of these tracks easily are on the level of anything I hear on Mirror to the Sky. Now, I've said recently that I've felt that 2024 has been a bit barren as far as great albums from old classic rock legends, right? I mean, starting late in 2022 all the way through 2023, we got albums by Ozzy Osbourne, Patient Number 9. We got Rock Flout or Flute from Jethro Tull. We got Midnight Rose from Paul Rogers. Hackney Diamonds from the Rolling Stones, Mirror to the Sky, like I said, by Yes, and several more that would be on that level. 72 Seasons by Metallica comes to mind. And in a recent video, I have revealed that so far, my pick of album of the year would be Deep Purple's brand new album, Equals One. Easily on the level of any of those albums I reviewed last year in the latter part of 2022. But if these two songs are any indication, and again, I was hopeful with the Deep Purple album, wasn't I? When we got 3 pre-releases there, I was hopeful. But I'm going to tell you, folks, these first 2 cuts has a little bit to offer everybody. It has the accessibility of the 90125 era, but it also has plenty of prog rock elements into the music. The song True Messenger is practically all song until the last couple of minutes where the band takes off, and you would think that would have been where they would fade it out. And who knows, if it is a single, maybe that is where they would fade it out. But I'm telling you, the piece does not suffer for the band to really start jamming that late in the song. All right, so there's some good news for you, something to look forward to. The video tonight's had some good news, and of course, the video's had some bad news tonight. The bad news is that Aerosmith is retiring, and they gave us quite an eloquent goodbye statement. And that leads me to my question to the tribe tonight, folks. Do you think it's possible that the powers that be behind, Ticketmaster, Live Nation, management, the basic greed of the artists themselves, and all of that money that was on the table for them to pick it up, do you think there could be a Tyler tribute tour coming up? Kind of like what Queen does these days with Adam Lambert. That way, the many people who seem to be absolutely accepting of watching bands that are not who they claim to be could continue to see them. Would you go see them under those conditions? Would you go see them if they had famous guest vocalists covering his songs? What would you think if he showed up and did lower harmonies to some of these songs? Would that be a concert that you would go to see? Because I'm willing to bet we haven't quite seen the end of Aerosmith. All right, folks, that's the video for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That always helps with views for any particular video and channel growth. And by channel growth, I mean sometimes people will see a video and subscribe on the strength of that video. So the wider of an audience any particular video has, the more chances the channel has to grow. And if you're one of my many viewers, I've said this before, that watch my videos, you know, the ones that interest you or whatever, you know, it's real easy to subscribe. All you have to do is hit that damn subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon. Now, the reason I say that is when you do that, then you're not waiting for my videos to get into your feed. They will be in your notifications. And then you can decide whether you're going to watch that video, whether that interests you or not. So it won't hurt you to subscribe to the tribe. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line. But always, folks, as I see it, the whole channel, the bottom line, you know, that alludes to the comments, all right? You guys are talking amongst yourselves. I get in there when I can, and I read all of the comments. If you get a heart and a thumbs up from me, that means I've at least read your comments. There are times when I am so busy putting out content, I can't get to the comments a day or two later, but I always reread them as much as I can. But there is a ton of stuff going on here, and you know what? I really do believe this, folks. This channel has a voice that is being heard. Occasionally, I hear from one of the big names in rock that they've seen a video, and often they appreciate them. All right? So when we are doing our thing in the comments, people are watching. You have a voice. We have a voice because you know what? We are the tribe.